Hey, and welcome to Heartstrings. Welcome to another episode where we dive into the wonderful world of relationships. Last week we mastered the art of communication. If you've not seen that episode, stop this one and go check it out. This week we're building on that foundation and we're talking about a crucial topic: consent and boundaries. Like, a lot of people have been asking me, what is consent? Well, when you talk about consent in a relationship, what do you mean? So I'm like always saying that consent is more than a yes or a no answer. It's active, it's enthusiastic, and it's an ongoing agreement between all the parties involved. Okay, so quick one. This lady is here saying she's not sure if she's ruined her friendship and her relationship by not setting boundaries. So she says, I'm a shy person who thinks to keep my private life private. I don't like to discuss it or film it, and I'd rather not do anything that makes me feel uncomfortable. For me, being in the other room is sensational. It's a sensation experience for which I have to feel a strong connection to my partner. However, she tries to accommodate her partner's needs as best as she can. Now, on the other hand, she's got her friend, and her friend has got an amazing intimate life and is not bothered, to share details about it. And she shared these details with her, because they've been friends for like a long time and all. But now she's starting to think that she's just an open book in general. And she says this because they're out together with her boyfriend, that's the shy one's boyfriend. And all three of them are having conversation, and then before you know it, it moves into talks about private moments with your partner. And her boyfriend, what's weird is that her boyfriend is the one who starts this type of conversation. And then best friend and boyfriend are talking about personal things, including toys and how they use it. And she's surprised because somehow they found a common thing to talk about, which now makes her the third wheel in this conversation. Now, she's an overthinker and she's wondering, why are they having this sort of conversation? Well, long story short, the conversation ends with her best friend showing her boyfriend pictures. And yes, those kind of pictures. What? Now, after these old scenario, they go home. Best friend is like, yo, I did nothing wrong, you were right there. And boyfriend is like, your accusations are childish. Anyways, they end up having an argument, and right now she's not talking to best friend from a long time ago, and she's not talking to boyfriend. So she's wondering if she ruined her relationship by not setting boundaries, because she's feeling guilty, confused, and lonely. I don't have an answer to that. I'm just going to leave that for you to decide. However, this is a good base on the conversation that we've got for today. Like I said at the beginning, consent in a relationship is more than a yes or no answer. It is active, okay? It's an agreement that both parties come into. And this is something that's not just, limited to relationship. It's for every aspect of our lives. Consent ensures that all parties involved are comfortable and are willing participants. Now, it is very, very, very different from permission. Consent is an active agreement. Permission is more passive. Permission is like granting an authority for something, whilst consent is a mutual agreement. Permission is a one-time event. Consent is ongoing. For example, your friend comes and is like, I need to be somewhere. Can I use your car? That's a permission. You granted him the permission to use your car, saying that he's going to bring the car back when it's done. It's not the same way with consent. For example, your partner wants to try out some new activity in the other room. It requires your consent to do this. Because that you said yes today does not necessarily mean that you would say yes tomorrow. That's why I say it is an ongoing agreement. Yeah, it's not a one-time agreement. It's ongoing. Why? Because circumstances and feelings can change. So it's important for us to respect each other's boundaries and feelings, especially when they've changed. Now, boundaries are like the superheroes of relationships. They protect you from harm, they respect our needs, and then they help us maintain a healthy connection. But why is setting boundaries essential in relationship? So boundaries are like your invincible lines that define your emotional and your physical comfort zone. They let people know that it's okay to do this or it's not okay to do this. Say, for example, you are introverted, your partner is extroverted, and he wants to see you all the time. It is boundaries that let him understand that, yes, in as much as you are okay with saying it's not okay for me because sometimes I might want my personal space. But listen to this. It is how you communicate and identify your boundaries that is important. Okay? The boundary in itself is not the problem. The problem is how we communicate it at times. Last week when we talked about communication, we said use the I statements and stuff like this. But we also clarified when and how to use it. It's the same as setting boundaries. In as much as you want to reflect on your own needs, you want to be direct and specific, you want to use the I language and all of that, you still want to not come out as though you're being selfish. Now, this lady is probably saying, I didn't feel comfortable that this happened. She said this, and then he says to her, well, you're acting childish. This kind of response will come in because the boundaries have not been set from the onset. He's not aware about your feelings and how you feel about some sort of kind of conversations when you're not alone. You've not set these boundaries. Hence why it would say to you, why are you acting up now? You understand? So you want to clearly state and communicate your boundaries. Use your I statements, but avoid coming out as though you've been selfish because, from last week we said it is not always about you. Now, sometimes we don't even come out as though we've been selfish. We don't even come out like that. But maybe the partner makes us feel like we come out like that. We want to remember that boundaries are a normal part of relationship. And that sometimes prioritizing your needs is not selfish. But then, like I said, you want to communicate these boundaries with empathy and understanding for the next person. Babe, I understand that you might want to see me a couple of times, okay? I understand that you are a very outgoing person, but sometimes I like my space. So do you think we might find a compromise on how this can work for both of us? I think at this point, it's more likely to say, okay, we could try this for a couple of months if it works, or we could try this. So this is you setting your boundaries, but at the same time, still bearing in mind how your partner feels. Okay, now we've talked about what consent and boundaries are. Now, how do we do this? How do we put this into play? These two are the perfect power couple. They work hand in hand together. So you want to remember that first things first, you need to be specific about what you're asking for and what it entails, right? Remember that your partner reserves the right to either accept, reject, or withdraw consent whenever they choose to. But just because they say no does not mean that you guilt trip them into doing what they want to do or what they do not want to do. Therefore, that's where respect comes into play. Respect the boundaries that have been set and respect your partner's decision, whether it's a yes or a no. A no is a complete sentence. No. So if she had said to her friend, babe, I'm not in this conversation. I do not enjoy this conversation that you're having with my boyfriend. Perhaps that would have put an end to that conversation. So be clear about what you're saying and stand your ground. It is not always a selfish thing to do. Why is this important? Because consent and boundaries build trust in a relationship, build respect in a relationship, and also promotes open communication in a relationship. which will in turn build a healthy relationship for you. So that's all we have today on consent and boundaries. But however, I would like to keep this conversation flowing. So talk to me. Tell me about one personal boundary that you set, whether in your relationship or just generally, or if you've got an experience, please share in the comment section below. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, this is a good time to do so. I'm still your neighborhood therapist, Mitchie P, and this is Heartstrings. See you again on the next episode. Goodbye.
La, la, la.